Hi, good morning to all my friends and our lecturer Puan Humaira. Today we're going to present perception for subject PSY 563 for the psychology and interpersonal communication. Before we proceed to our slide, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Nur Izzati Sofia binti Nordin and my friend is Nur Aslina binti Muhammad Syahid and Muhammad Helmi bin Iskan. What do you know about the perception? So we're going to introduce the meaning of the perception. So the perception is the process through which data from the environment is selected, taken in, arranged and interpreted so that it has a meaning for you. The input of meaningful information result in decision and action. It also affects the way people communicate with others. Individuals have different perception. The same scenario can have different meaning to different person. We have about 4 laws of perception. We have continuity, proximity, continuity, and similarity. So, Aslina, we're going to present the next slide about closure.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Aslina binti Muhammad Syahid and my ID number is 2020803466. Closure. One more Gestalt theory is closure. The principle of closure suggests that people gather things or parts of information in order to perceive certain things. People can perceive things according to the available information gathered, even if it's only a little of information. An example is the pictures in slide. There are 2 shapes with dashed lines, but people will say that these shapes are a circle and a square instead of saying that it is a circle and square with the dashed lines.
Perception category is how brain organize the data collect into one subject to from experience of environment. The law similarity is an constitution process of grouping together sensory information which similar into the process which both visual and audio information. In the law of similarity of usual if to visual similarity, shape features in image may consist of color, size, shape, right, or another visual. Object into 2 or more group. If image in the contents refer of the visual or what is seen, maybe the perfection is still image or objective. Example, law of quality like this one. The object is same all aspect, size, shape and distance, except that is different of color. The initial perfection of this image to see line of white dot followed by a line of black dot. The brain automatically grouped the eyes which the indicate the different to from line. In this example, color is example color. If the same arrangement is present with different shape, brain will group line by shape of the size and different may be different, the brain will group team by size. The pictures mirrored by color. Picture chromatic pattern which again different in color. The variety of pattern start the process of grouping the low similarity, because the preparation of the image change when the brain sort the image into group and into different group. It is the same when the image on the eyes or retina of scene. The information maybe the brain does not change. The way information is recognized in impression is by seeing. Design element this look similar in some way is share the same color, shape or size. They consider relate which similar element or consider as belong to separate group. The principle of similarities simply state when the shape of object share some visual character, it is considered related some way. Object do not have to be same shape, but simple share at least one visible property such color, shape or size to be seen part of the same group.
Continuity. Another Gestalt theory is continuity. So, the law of continuity is essentially suggests that people tend to grasp and focus on something that have a continuation of a flow rather than something that has obstacles that could be of a distraction, as it can distract the flow and making it difficult to focus. For example, a study shows that people will prefer to look at a straight, smooth flowing lines and not of a jagged and broken lines. Another example is the X on the screen or slide. People perceive it as a two overlapping lines instead of saying it as four lines meeting at the middle.
Do you know that we always use proximity in our daily essay? How? So we're going to explain more about the proximity. The principle of similarity simply states that when the shape of an object shares some visual characteristic, it is considered related in some way. Objects do not have to be same shape but simply share at least one visible property, such as color, shape or size to be seen as a part of the same group. So when we talk about the essay, so we're going to explain the same meaning in one paragraph. So it's same as the proximity. We have about 6 factors that influence perception. Number 1 is values and individual needs, emotion, motivation, past experience, stimulus features, selective attention. So, our next slide is going to present what is the values and individual needs. Factor number 1, values and individual needs. Values refer to solid life goals that people have and reflect their highest priorities. Values are abstract and context-independent belief about what people want to achieve in life. For example, power. Values are motivational goals that refer to desirable end states.
Emotion. One of the factors that could influence the perceptions are emotion, as perception tend to derive and mediated by attention. Emotion could direct people's perception as it could affect by attention mechanism. Being emotional could most likely have the attention effect on perception more than being neutral. This process also helps people to organize the perception environments depending on their needs and situation. Motivation. Another factor that influence perception is motivation. Motivation detects meaningful stimulus and shifts people's perceptions and to identify the root of the true sensory. One example can be taken from a mother that could be awakened by even the slightest movement sounds that their baby made, but not any other sounds. Past experiences. Perception process could be influenced by the experiences. They have two-way involvement in its processing, bottom-up and bottom-down processing, in which this perception process helps to interpret and organize and experience the sensory information. Some examples could be knowledges, beliefs, values, prejudice, and cultures.
Factor number 5. Stimulus features. A stimulus is any object or event that causes a sensory or behavioral response in an organism. In this context, a distinction is made between digital stimulation, perceived external object from muscle, bone, limbs, etc., and proximal stimulation, stimulation of sensory organ. The last factor is factor number 6, selective attention. Selective attention is the process of directing our awareness to relevant stimuli which ignoring irrelevant stimuli in environment. This is an important process because there is a limit to the amount of information that can be processed in each amount of time, and selective attention allows it to filter out unimportant details and focus on important things. Okay, the conclusion of the perception is the importance of perception is that it helps us define who we are, where we headed, and what we can do to be better. If we can learn to change our perception of others by understanding them, we will build meaningful relationships at work. We can also learn about characteristics and components of the environment that are critical to our survival. In addition to determining how we view the world around us, perception enables us to act in accordance with our surroundings.